Give you. Ready to roll? Okay, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming, and we'll start by doing the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have advance signed the payroll register. So for this week, we had payroll of $35,228.27 with taxes coming out of $8,670.74. We had accounts payable of $31,081.79 and no payments this week to Swayze or the co-op. So that takes care of that. I should also mention we are awaiting John Morgan, who will be attending remotely, and unfortunately Andy Artemovich was unable to make it due to a sudden personal emergency situation. So I know he wished he would be here, given the the happy circumstances. So moving on, public minutes is part of the consent agenda. Non-public minutes. John here?
He has joined us.
Ah, okay. Why don't we?
Can we do the minutes first so we don't have to do roll call?
Sure.
Just one.
Non-public minutes, we will defer until the next meeting. Building permits have been signed, and then there were a couple of rec manifest checks that were signed as well. So if I'll accept a motion to approve the.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Do we want to?
Is there anything else we need to vote on coming up soon?
Well, no.
Okay. I'll make a motion to let John join us remotely.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have to do a roll call.
Yeah, roll call vote.
Aye. Jim?
Aye, Letty.
Aye, Paul. John, are you with us?
Yeah, I am with you. I can't see you, but
No, I
that
turned the
doesn't.
camera off because I hate looking at ourselves. Now you can see us.
Oh, there you are.
All right, well, thank you. Welcome.
Thanks.
All right, and now we're here for a happy occasion for the promotion of Corporal Chris Spitaleri. So we need the paperwork for the promotion, and
Do you need a motion?
we'll have Daphne do the honors. We'll move.
I'll make a motion. Oh,
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we promote Christopher Spitaleri to sergeant.
I will second that.
Okay, everyone in favor, we'll do a roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Jim? John?
Aye.
And I? Yeah.
Mind if I talk a little bit while you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming. I just wanted to say a couple things we normally do before we promote someone. It's been quite a year here at Brentwood PD, as most of you residents are probably aware, you've probably seen. We all kind of fell into these positions and have truly come out on top. Speaking personally for myself, being in the position that I'm in now as a chief, I could not have gotten to where I am in this agency without Chris being there to support me along the way. Any task that I needed help with, he's been there, he's been able to step up. We've gotten things done in a timely manner. He ensures our equipment's up to date. He's our tech guy, so he ensures our computers are working and up to date. And just truly, without him here, we wouldn't be where we are today. So it's truly an honor to be able to watch him not only get promoted corporal first, but now to see him get promoted sergeant. A little overdue, but it's certainly well deserved. And I truly appreciate his patience. I'm glad to stand to join us here for this occasion. I'll turn it over to our famous town clerk to swear him in.
I just want to say one quick thing about how proud I am of this police force and how the top command, the chief, and now Sergeant Spitaleri, they just bring honor and integrity to the force and to our town, and I'm just really proud of them. So please, take pictures and come on up. Yep.
You're hiding in this one.
You want to take one of the whole force? Or? Yeah. Yep.
Okay, fellow coppers.
Hmm.
Go, go, go. We are missing a shot. Whoa, hang on.
He does have a soft side.
Which is not mine. Just the uncle. All set. It looks pretty though. Someday. All right, here you go.
Go ahead, Sergeant.
Thank you, family, for coming.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Clean.
Yeah. Time that would be down. Break my first comments, but it's on the agenda for public comment. We'll also have public comment after regular business as well today, if people want to do it that way, as well as comments after each of the regular business items. So if anyone wants to do public comment now, feel free, or you can wait till after regular business.
I'm gonna stand and kind of face the crowd here a little bit.
Oh, you're going first?
Yeah, I might as well. I'm here. So again, my name's Justin. I'm the chief here. I just wanted to come and just offer public comment. I'm big on transparency with the police department. So every now and then, see me up here because I'm working with the town and kind of what's up to. Today, I just wanted to wait a year, believe it, and just kind of we're doing. I think towns compare. Currently, we are 86 arrests in this increase in drug arrests, and we have an epidemic of people driving through this town without licenses. So we are out there. Compared to a few other towns, Candia has 10 right now for the year. Fremont has 17, and Northampton has 9. Again, we have 56. Car stops for the year so far. We have 804. So, you know, that's all throughout. We've gotten a lot of complaints on Prescott Road and Deer Hill Road. We are enforcing those. Kate, I just pulled a car over in front of your house the other day on Middle Roads. So we're out there. Obviously, 125 is where we're finding a lot of this drug activity and these drunks. But again, so 804 for us. Candia's got 296. Fremont's got 302. Northampton's got 192. Investigative reports as a whole right now, we're right in the middle. We're about 65 for the year. And those encompass everything. Also, other agencies pull reports for different things. Candia has 77, Fremont has 50, Northampton has 62. I'm happy with this stat right here for accidents. We only have 7 state reportable accidents for the year, compared to Candia 18, Fremont with 6, and Northampton with 19. And truly, I contribute that stat to our proactivity. It's out there. They are slowing down. We've seen less crashes on 125. That DOT project has helped, of course. And on top of that, we're working on the new building. We have the committee meetings. We're getting, now that weather's getting nice, you're going to see us out there in the community more. I'm planning some community events. National Night Out is going to be here before you know, in August. So we certainly hope to see you folks through town. And feel free to reach out to me, call, shoot me an email anytime. I'm happy to give you a tour of the PD, do a ride along, anything like that. We're happy to serve you folks. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. I can tell you too, Justin, being on 125 every day and going to my office, the deterrence effect definitely is noticeable.
Thank you.
Yep.
Liz Faria. I learned today that this board is about to go into their summer schedule. I don't know any schedule that has April as a summer month. I would suggest that you continue every week until June, instead of every other. Schedule in April is ridiculous. Thank you.
Suggestion.
Oh, I don't have to scrouch down. Kate from Middle Road. I learned at the town meeting that this guy here isn't on the impact fee list. Is that true? The DOT for Brentwood?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
true.
Is there any way that in the future you guys can put that on your table and figure out how we can get him to get some of that impact money?
The planning board is the one that decides how
Well, you're in control, though. You're the
No.
selectman.
No, the planning board, it is
Well, can
zoning.
you pass that on to the planning board then?
Paul, would you pass that on to the
Yeah,
planning board?
I can certainly speak with Mark Kennedy
Thank you.
and see if that's something they want to reallocate.
Well, it would be a good idea, I think. So, thanks.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maria South Road, this is up about in the last year. It's been brought up board the select, and it should happen.
This is actually the first being brought up at Selectboard. That was something that was at town meeting. So I did hear that.
Everyone.
I was talking in general. No, that was it from the planning board perspective, and I could certainly speak with them and find out where that stands, because that is something that they will need to assess, and they have, intervals of doing those assessments. Okay, I think unless anyone else wants public comment, then Justin, you're up.
All right, hi again. All right, so my couple things, or I'll say a few things on the agenda. This year, for the first time, I have a cruiser budgeted in my budget, and so I'm here asking permission to use said money budgeted for a cruiser to purchase a cruiser. This is part of the cruiser replacement rotation that we have kind of talked at exhaustion about over the last year. I have a quote from Colonial. They are so far the most affordable option for a Ford Explorer at $46,708.80. They do have one on hold for us because they are difficult to get. I did look at other models. Right now, Ford is the most affordable, especially compared to Chevy with a Tahoe. The Tahoes are going for about 60 grand right now, just base, which is absolutely wild to me. This is just the base of the car. I am still waiting on just a quote for the build out of the car, which we use ITS out in Atkinson to do. Some of those prices they're just figuring out with national, tariffs and stuff like that going on. Some of those prices have been affected. It shouldn't change too much, but I believe that the last build out was about 15 to 16 grand. Should those prices, go up, right now I have budgeted for a car and a build out at 65, but should we go over those, I would just ask to use, I know our impact fee fund has been reconciled, so I would just ask to dip into that. Should, again, we do radio that we can recycle, which is about, saves us 5 grand there, as well as a radar unit that we can recycle, which will save us about 2,500 bucks there. Everything else, this should hopefully be the last car too that's getting a complete full built outfit until we need to replace the K9 cruiser, just because that's a specialty cruiser. But the goal is after this one we'll be able to recycle equipment for at least another lifespan of a car, because we are investing in new equipment instead of looking at things and hoping that they work for decades. So that is my first request. Do we want to?
Yeah, so can you just explain, you had mentioned the program of replacing vehicles. So,
Absolutely.
So explain how that works and where we are in the replacement rotation or process.
Realistically, the goal is to get a car every year, because I know when I first started here about 3 years ago, we had our 4 frontline cars were over, if not pushing 100,000 miles. 100,000 miles on a cruiser, we all drive cars, personal cars, 100,000 miles. They are not 100,000 cruiser miles. These cars idle often. These cars, they are police cars. They get ridden hard. It's a fact of the job. Once they start approaching that 75, 80,000 mile mark, and you can look at our records from last year, that's when we start dumping money into them for repairs. We blew our maintenance budget last year out of the water because we still had that older fleet, that was just, it was dying. It was time. I made the joke last time, I think Wayne bought 2 of our old cars brand new when he was still chief. So, so now, as it stands, if we can continue with this replacement schedule, no car should realistically ever see 100,000 miles. And if they do, it'll be very low hundreds before they either turn into an admin car, training car, they're turned over to maybe the fire department, they're turned over to the building inspector, or they're just traded in and that cost is put towards a new car. As I would love, we have 1 dinosaur downstairs right now. There's unfortunately no value in it. So I'll likely just work at another deal where, like we did for the last car, if you guys remember, the payment for stripping all the old equipment out of it, which we have to do anyways to get rid of it, I just allowed the outfitter to keep it and sell it, which was, about a couple grand, if that. Yeah. So it's exactly still wash.
So can you just give us an outline in terms of what we have for vehicles at this point?
Yep.
And relative ages?
Yeah, so right now our this would be our 4th frontline car, which would we'll have a matching fleet for once. We'll have 4 frontline Explorers. We do still Matt's got a Tahoe just for his K9 because he needs the extra space in it. I have my administrative car. We do have the Denali out there, and it is good to have. We'll have the Dodge Charger too, which again, we just had to do the motor in. So that was another unexpected cost, but that's since been remedied. So the Charger will act as our detail car / ready spare. That way we're not hurting or relying on other towns for mutual aid if we have a car that's down.
Okay.
So-
With the 4 frontline cars?
Yeah, 4 frontline cars and then the
and
one
their
ready
relative
spare.
ages? Or-
Yeah. So those are all, a couple are, I want to say we have one 2022, but we bought it as a leftover with no miles on it. But everything else, like they're all well under, 25,000 miles right now because we've been good about replacing them. The board's been very gracious these last few years with money that's been in our budget or a detail fund. And like I said, now that I actually have it in my budget, this will solidify the cruiser replacement plan that we have talked about at length.
Any other questions from the board?
No, I'll just make a comment that I looked over his plan and I'm in agreement. I think it's a good plan. These cruisers they are, driven real hard and so I commend him on that. So,
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I'm assuming your build out includes decals and stuff?
Yep.
And are we going with black cars?
Yep.
So we're done black and whites?
Yep.
Black.
All done. A single tone.
Surprise me.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you looking right now for the purchase of the vehicle or?
It'll be the complete package. So I'm requesting the vehicle and the build out tonight.
Okay, up to a certain amount or?
I have 65 budgeted for it, but again, just with the unknowing, if prices have fluctuated, I would just ask if I need to dip into my impact fees for a little bit here and there. I shouldn't, but I just want to have that cushion just in case, rather than come back here and say, hey, I need more money.
I mean, if we moved for up to 65, which is in the budget, do you think that would be okay, or you? mean-
It should be. That's what I have budgeted for it. So, but I just like a cushion. That's all.
I mean, if there was a problem, I mean, I just don't, I want to kind of make
No, I get
sure
it,
there
yeah.
wasn't like some real surprise with the build out.
There shouldn't be because we're doing all of our cars the same now. So realistically, the quote that I got should be the same. Our outfitter is just confirming prices from the vendors. That's all.
Well, my suggestion would be that we move now for up to 65 for purposes of the car and the build out. And if there was some, real surprise beyond that, then you would just, let us know.
Sure,
Does that make sense?
works for me.
Yeah.
Make sense to you?
So I'll make a motion that we agree to the $65,000 purchase. And if it goes over that you'll come back to us and
Yep.
just let us know and.
That I can do.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we'll take a vote. Jim?
Aye.
Buddy?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so,
Thank you guys.
yep, good luck.
And then my next on the subject of cruisers. Sorry, I got 2 more items. I'll make them quick.
Yep.
Trying to, again, part of this cruiser replacement plan. I got that black and white Tahoe out there. It's got about 100,000 miles on it, but we put a transmission in it last year, so it's in pretty good shape. I'm just looking for your guys' approval for right now. That Tahoe's a 2020, right, Matt? 2019. It's got a cage in it, and the deal I'm looking for, my Taurus is a 2016 with about 80 on it. All the equipment in my Taurus is new. I'm looking to transfer that over into the Tahoe. I'll end up taking that Tahoe and the deal being our upfitter would just wash it again. He would keep the Taurus, do all the work for the keeping of the Taurus, and then he'll go and sell it. He'll end up wrapping that Tahoe black. It'll all be included in just the price of keeping the Taurus. So we're not necessarily on the hook for any money up front. And then it trims, a car that right now isn't being used because it would go to me. And then it gives me a cage too. So the days that I work the road, I can actually effectively make an arrest and not have to put an arrestee in my front seat. Seems like common sense, but
Okay, so that doesn't require any.
no, there's no monetary or dollar being exchanged. It's just kind of a transparency heads up thing to you guys.
Okay.
So when
And
I
it
do,
gets rid of an older unit, so.
yeah, and then when I bill a sale, I'll give you guys a copy of it just to keep with your files or what have you.
Okay, I don't think we need to vote on that then.
Nope.
If you're good, I'm good. And then my last thing is at our last building meeting, the interim chair, Eric Kelly, spoke about, he drafted up an RFQ. I believe it was included in your guys' packet, at least the sample. He's finalizing that now. But for anyone that's not familiar with Eric Kelly, this is what he does. He works as a architect for, building firms, stuff like he works on municipal projects, so I trust his ability. And if that sample looked okay, he's just doing some.
I didn't put that in there, I apologize.
Oh, okay.
So the track changes in it.
Oh, yeah, I can email it to the board and you guys can look at it. But I trust Eric knows how to do an RFQ. I mean, Jim, I think you've sat in enough meetings to kind of see his knowledge base. Once it's finalized and once our committee approves, the select board would be willing, hoping by Friday, to be able to get it to Andrea. That way we can post it on New Hampshire Municipal. That way we can start getting companies interested in
I
bidding.
think we approved that last week. Maybe.
From the board.
Maybe?
I wasn't here last week, so.
I know.
Discussed, you said it was coming, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't actually take a vote on
just-
it, though.
Well,
I don't
I don't
think.
know where the minutes went from last week. I thought it said something about, we said that Andrea could.
Oh, we
post
did.
it
We
on our
get, well, we
behalf.
gave her the
The-
ability to do it,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
that's
yeah.
true.
If you guys are comfortable, I'm good with
Yeah.
that. I just,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
That's true.
perfect.
I remember that now.
Cool. So in that case, all right, I won't take up any more time.
Great.
Thank
Great.
you guys. Appreciate
All right.
it.
Thank
Justin,
you.
thank you for being so transparent.
Oh, I'll-
Appreciate it.
What we do.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. Appreciate you.
What you do.
Okay, Chief Berg.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'd just like to harass Justin, so. Couple of things tonight.
Chief Bird, yeah.
I'd just like to bring up a couple of things tonight. I lost my train of thought for a second. The 2 vehicles have been moved to the town shed. Pleasures, does anybody have any thoughts of what you'd like to do with them? And get them out of Wayne's way?
Well, I think we should probably sit down and go over, we can go over the specs on them and maybe put them out online
Okay.
and see if we can sell them ourselves rather than paying someone else to sell them. I think that would, probably enable us to retain more, what little value there is, right?
Mhm.
That's what I would suggest we do.
Okay. Next week, something, you and I maybe get together and do it.
Did you have any thoughts on that, Chief?
No, that's usually the way it goes. They usually do it out and put it out somewhere, a couple of different places. I might have a place or two. I know there's a guy up north that's into antique fire trucks. Maybe he can have somebody that might be interested, at least in the Han. So we can go from there.
Okay,
All right?
yep.
All right. As you all know, we are working on the deputy we hope to have in here by April 14th, is the way it's looking right now. I've been in contact with him. We've been working on different things with the budgets already and trying to get squared away with that. So that will happen hopefully on the 14th.
Yeah, I don't think we've even announced that yet to the public, so if you want to go ahead, Andrea,
I think I just did.
and do so. You kind of
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
stole the thunder, but
Oh, yeah, Roy Olson accepted the job of deputy fire chief. We sent him Roy Olson. He accepted, we sent him an offer letter. So, and he will be starting on April 14th.
yeah. So
Sorry about that.
we're really, excited about that. I know this was someone who was not only handpicked by Chief Byrd, but the other fire chiefs who were part of that vetting process. And then he also met with the board as well. And I think, we have someone who will be here for, a good long time and bring some real stability to the force upon what at this point, may be a bit of a transition. Call it that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just to add to that, he had been on the department before.
Yep.
So he's familiar with town, lives close by, he's on the Fremont, Brentwood town line, so he's literally 2 minutes or 3 minutes from the station, so that should be a benefit to you guys. That was part of what I was looking for when this process went down, to get you somebody that was close by, not the 20-minute ride I got, but at the same time, not somebody up north somewhere.
Yeah. How many years in the field, Chief, does he have?
I started-
approximately?
He's got 25 in,
Yeah.
so, yeah. He's got 25 in it.
And he's presently a
A
deputy?
deputy,
Yep.
he's a deputy over in one of the other towns. I don't know if you'd want
Yep.
to mention it, so.
Yep.
Yeah, so he has got the experience. He's been in it, he's done the EMS side of it. He's familiar with budgets. It'll be a process to learn hours, but he's a quick learner. The guys, I introduced him to the staff last night, and he seemed to be well received. There was a few of them that went up and talked to him. He has told me that he literally will sit down with every one of them, or at least catch them somewhere and get their thoughts and figure out what direction they would like to head and where their heads are at, so.
And Chief, for those that aren't aware, can you just let them know this is a transitional thing? Bring them up to speed on what your plan is.
Yeah, I've told the board anywhere between 3 to 6 months to make this work. It is a transitional spot at the moment, and that's the way we're working, so.
Good.
The other thing I have before we get into money into this, I've picked out the 2 lieutenants that I'd like to have. I'd like to get them started ASAP. One of them is one of the full-time firefighters that I already have on the department. The second one is on my call force and works for Bedford Fire as his full-time job. He is another one that started out with the fire department years ago. Has had the opportunity to grow with a couple of different departments. I think he'll be a strong candidate for the position. The other one that's in-house is been in the fire service about 5 or 6 years. He's a real good kid, willing to help, willing to take on projects, willing to teach with the guys. Little bit of a techie, so that helps. So these are the 2 choices that I was going to bring forward for that position. So I plan on doing that ASAP. So just to give you an idea.
And that will fill 2,
That will leave me 1 open position.
correct?
1 open position for the full-time slot. There again, I've already been talking to the deputy.
Wait, what?
That leaves 1 open slot.
One open full-time,
Slot.
okay.
Yep.
So
Because
2 lieutenants,
I'm promoting from within for 1, and then I'm taking 1 from the outside, so it leaves 1 open slot.
okay. So-
Okay.
So 2 lieutenants and then 2 full-time under,
Yeah, the idea is to fill the other spot,
okay.
which we.
The one that you're promoting from within.
Right.
Got it.
No,
Okay.
the
No.
one stays, still have an open. I've got 4, I'm supposed to have 4. The
Yeah.
original idea was to hire 2, which I'm doing, even though I'm taking 1 from internal.
Right.
So that still leaves an open.
And the other
spot.
one's a per diem, so it's, you know who they are either way.
Yes, the other one's, like I said, it's been on my call departments, but doing it,
Well, that's what I'm,
yeah,
it's,
per
so
diem
even
part
though
of
it's
it
not-
too, so no,
no,
he's
it's
not.
not in-house, it's still.
Well, he is.
knows both, and
He's still on the
both
call department.
candidates.
Right,
I highly recommend both.
And they're both gonna be full-time?
yes. That should hopefully, with the one that's coming out of Bedford, be in about 2 weeks. And then the other
So
one
that
will do fairly
Would be
quickly.
2 full-time lieutenants, 1 full-time that we presently,
Firefighter, and I got 1 open.
and 1 open. Okay,
That I've been working with the deputy on now, that he may have a candidate or 2 that might be interested in filling that. I am proud of the fact that this group, the chief, the deputy, is somebody that's coming back to town, that wants to be here and wants to grow with the town. And then the one out of Bedford, like I said, started with the department and wants to come back and be part of the growth of this department. So I think that should be the town's cap as far as being able to attract people that have been here before and interested in coming, especially at the way. Yeah.
so what's your for bringing that to the board?
I don't normally do lieutenants. Normally, it's done internally. I'm just telling you that we usually do that. So the 2 lieutenants would normally be done internally. The upper positions are usually the ones that we bring somebody forward and hire out, or somebody would be aware of it Don Tilby, I can tell you, is the one that I've got, and where they were two inside ones to begin with, even though he's not truly inside, he's inside with us. I didn't think we needed to bring that forward at this point. So, not trying to supersede anybody, but,
Last time you hired a regular firefighter, though, you came in front of us, right?
yeah. And I'm,
So low end and high end, you bring in front of us. The middle guys are all you. I'm not trying to understand.
if you want to do it, we can do it.
Nope.
I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, trust me. I'm
No,
trying to be as transparent as everybody else.
Yeah, no, I think you're correct. I mean, from my vantage point, I don't need to get into, the weeds and, obviously, our
Somebody from the out, my philosophy and most of the way this works is somebody from the outside you'd bring in and you'd bring before these people. Most departments will do the internal promotions themselves. And I took the one from Bedford as an internal candidate because he's already, like I said, a per diem for me and an on-call person to begin with. He lives literally over the border again.
And you're filling spots that are open, you're not creating new positions.
Well, and even then, I wouldn't have a problem bringing the next full-time person forward because it's coming from outside, but, and we were.
I mean, these positions, we've never had these positions before.
You've had, technically.
Right.
You want to split hairs, yes, it is.
It came with a big budget hit, is why I'm saying that.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm fine, where we have that review of, the deputy and the chief. And so I'm fine with that unless people, on the board feel, otherwise. I understand, there's a comment out in the audience, so we'll hear that as well.
I guess I'd like to know how much you're paying them. Which maybe should be a non-public but like that's.
Yeah, that would be a non-public.
Sure, but that's
Yeah.
one of the things I'd want to know.
Okay. Because it's a hiring decision. So anyways, you could come back, to us in non-public for that, chief.
Yep.
Or if somebody else knows do you know the numbers? Okay. Do you know the number?
Yeah, so you'll come back to us because that's a hiring for non-public, so.
Liz Freya, South Road, so 2 new are coming up, or 1 new is coming? The deputy's new, even though he was before, he's a new hire, right?
Yep.
And one of the lieutenants is getting promoted.
Yes.
So we have 2, in essence, kind of new people, right? I would say that we just take a pause on the 3rd one, until we see how this works out, because we'll have the chief, the deputy, a lieutenant, and a.
We're still going to be understaffed, though.
Right, I mean,
We have-
the idea was that there had been 4 positions that we were, seeking to fill,
Yeah, this isn't anything new.
so.
And this is
I
what we budgeted
apologize for the confusion, like I said,
No.
I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes.
Well, and this is
trust
what
me.
this is what we put in the budget that
Right.
was approved
Yep.
by the townspeople, was the deputy and the 2 lieutenants at the higher positions. So this is what we
Yeah.
wanted.
All right.
But
So
what
you're
are-
gonna come back for,
Yeah, why don't you come back? I don't know if you want to do that next week for non-public and just to, confirm the hiring details of those lieutenants? Or did you want to stay and do that as part of non-public tonight? Because we weren't going to do non-public tonight because we didn't have anything, but if you want to be part of that, you're more than welcome to.
it should go pretty quick tonight.
Yeah, I'll hang out and do that.
Did you have anything else?
The other thing I wanted to do, and I believe you should have it in your packets, as I told the 4 of you that have been here, and Jim has been in conversations with me, at some point, we were gonna have to do away with the stipend. My trying to fill weekends, nights, and so forth and so on is already tough, and we're not into the warm weather yet. Usually you can struggle through it, but when I'm already got the gaps, we're trying to fill these spots. So what I came up with was what it would cost you to do it for 2026.
Is that? Oh, it's in here.
No, it wasn't, he gave it to me
Oh, yeah, so it's not in the scanned one? Okay. Do you need one too?
I don't, I have it.
Oh, okay. John, do you want me to text you a picture of this?
If you would be so kind, that would be great.
Sure.
Thanks.
So can you explain what we're looking at, Chief?
So what you're looking at is the 2025 projection to cover the next 34 weeks, starting May 1st, which would be $95,309 to do that. We've been able to come out of the budget with that by what you saved in the stipends for the extra 34 weeks, which would have been $30,745. 18 weeks of the open shifts and standby coverage that was covered by the open shifts by stipend rather than with the people, that came up another $34,219. And where the deputy was budgeted from the beginning of the year, because we were trying to get him in, the $29,711, which comes up $94,675, which leaves me about $634 short, but I can find that in the budget.
Yeah.
The
So-
projection, just so we've got everything on the table, the projection for next year overall would have been, hang on a minute. Let me find the right sheet, so I don't screw this up.
You're looking at the 2026?
No,
number?
I've got a,
It's
I
like
got a different,
190.
I got a different one that's got the total, oh, it's on here. I haven't got the total of them together.
So
You would,
190,
huh?
190-ish? Is it the
No, it was 140 something. You put the 43,800 with it, and then they put the 9816. So that's the total. The 43,000 would be what you're saving for not paying for the $100 stipend at night, which brings it down to 98,616.
Do you know which?
Say that again? I'm not following.
If you read the cost minus the stipend, so the 43,800 that's under there in parentheses would have been added to that 98. Would have been added to that 98.
Mhm.
Which line is the stipend on in your budget? Do you know? Or is it the wages line?
Yeah,
or
it's
the
under the
salaries?
wages, I
It's
believe.
under wages,
Yeah.
okay.
Puts a 7.85% increase into the budget.
For next year.
Yeah.
I'm telling you up
We want to
front.
do it next year.
That's what it's gonna cost you.
No, but you figured out a way to do it this year in the budget you have.
Right. I figured out a way to do it in this one, and I didn't want any surprises, so I'm telling you up front what it's gonna cost you next year.
And so in terms of this cost for night coverage, how is that night coverage going to?
That gives you 2 people in the station at night. Now you've only got 1, and where I've been short the people, you might not have 1 at all because you're covering it with a stipend, and depending where these people were living, they were coming from home.
So these are per diems?
You would do it off the per diems, yes. The per diems and the call people that are still left. I've got about 7 people that are actually on this department that live in town. Everything else is per diem.
Would it,
Go ahead.
would it be cheaper just to hire another person?
That doesn't cover the whole.
Well, I guess
You gotta, they would be on a rotation too, so you're doing it cheaper with the per diems than you are with a full-time. Otherwise, you gotta go, if you wanna get if you wanna get 2 people on an ambulance at night, the only way you're gonna get 2 people on the ambulances at night is either hire 4 more or do it with a per diem.
hire 4 more. You can't just hire 2.
Well, you could hire 2, you still gotta cover the rest of it with a
Well,
per diem.
yes, I understand.
That's not in the budget at all.
Nope. I'm thinking about for next year if we were to
I'm not dumping things in somebody else's lap.
Okay,
But,
I'm going to talk to the board then. If we were to accept this 2025 plan with the thought that 26, we would put a warrant article for 2 new bodies,
You gotta
then the
remember,
people could decide.
you gotta remember, you gotta run it through at least the first 3 months, the way the budget works. So you'd have to figure out that.
That, nope. I guess I'm looking at the other board members.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not, comfortable with these figures at this point. So
And I'm telling you, you're not gonna have the coverage at night.
I understand.
I'm being totally honest with you.
How often do you have no one?
Excuse me?
How often is there no one?
There has been probably 3 or 4 times since the first of the year already. And like I said, when summer rolls around, it gets even worse. You're covered both sides of us right now, both towns on either side of us have at least got 2 on. We're probably the last holdout, and like I said, I made it last as long as I could possibly make it last and not do it, but I'm not, that's why I brought you the figure forward. If you guys are comfortable, I'll patch it together the way we're.
To decide what you do. for so
Well,
far.
yeah, but
You can't start it and stop.
exactly. Yeah, that's my concern. I don't want to do
You
something.
can't start something, and you're not gonna have anybody come
Right.
back and do it for $100 next year.
I don't want to do it for 2025 and then.
Right.
Nobody's already doing, it sounds like nobody's already doing it for 100,000 or for $100 a year. So
Right, so that's the reason I'm trying to do this, to give you the coverage that you
yes,
guys,
I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be an open book with what's going on. A third of the calls basically are coming up at night, and a lot of them are starting to come in at midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well,
So-
I think Andy needs to be part of this conversation as well, frankly. So
Who?
Andy,
Oh, Andy.
yeah.
And
So
the deputy also, maybe? Because he's going to be inheriting this.
Well, like I said, I have not come in here with anything that he doesn't already know about. And the conversations you guys, from what I understand, had with him are gonna tell you the same thing.
No, that's fine. But if he has thoughts about, because you're saying you're not going to be here in 26.
I think, again, I want Andy part of this conversation, so I'm going to move to table this for now. So,
Can I just make one quick comment,
Mm-hmm.
You can.
Paul? Well,
yep, thank you, John. Go ahead.
I just think that it's one of the most basic expectations of the people who put us all in the seats, that when they call 911 on their worst day, that Joe and Chief Bird and Chief Doty and their respective teams have the capability to show up when they're needed most. I fundamentally believe that squabbling over a couple $1,000 so that we which would make it so that we don't have that 24/7 coverage for our worst nights for the people of Brentwood is really just kind of walking away from our duties. So I just wanted to put that on the record there.
Yeah, that's fine. But the thing is, it's not a couple of $1,000s. We're talking about $100,000 and something that's a 7.85% increase. But I certainly appreciate what you're saying, John, and I appreciate also the comment that Letty made, that I think it's something that ultimately needs to be brought out to the public at town meeting, given the situation that we're in. So,
Unfortunately, being a leader, Paul, I think it puts us. I don't think that the people want to wait a year not having 24/7 coverage. That's what leadership is.
Please don't call leadership into question, but we're having a discussion, John, over what we are able to do. So
I make a motion to table this.
yeah, I moved.
Gives
it.
us time.
So if you want
okay.
a second,
I'll second it. It gives us time to talk about it internally as well.
all right, take a roll call vote because we have a motion and a second. Jim,
Aye.
Letty,
Okay. Can we, sorry, is your motion to table this till next week or indefinitely?
No, next week.
So we'll be able to give the chief an answer next week?
Yeah, we'll table it. We'll have further discussion next week.
Aye.
Aye. John?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. Then I'll come back for the non-public next week, too. And we'll just do that.
Okay, fair enough.
If that works for you
Yep.
guys.
Yep.
And we'll just do that, and we'll just plan on next.
Yep.
He won't be official, but if I bring the deputy along with that'd be fine with you guys?
I would recommend that.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Have a good night.
Yep. have a good
Night.
All right. Wayne, you're up.
Evening, sir.
You doing? Good. So tell us where we're at with the loader, because I
Okay,
understand.
with the loader, the service plan. The service plan, I went and asked Jeremy, the sales manager, if they had a service plan. Well, the old one we had, when we got the old one, we did have a service plan that we used. The service plan is, it goes, what is it? It's they have like a 500 hour and how much it's gonna cost to and it goes right down, it goes up 500 hour, 1,000 hour, 1,500 hour, 2,000 hours, and 2,500 hours, which we went along with them with the old one, and I was seeing if they could do it with the new one. And he sent it down to me, and I brought a copy in here so you guys could see it. And now with this, the prices are different than what they were with the old one. The thing's a little higher than what normally is, but
So the price is $14,692, correct?
that's correct.
Okay.
So with that there, when we do all this, and something should happen with that loader in between, these guys stand behind it because they did all the work when we have it serviced. So it goes right along with having a service and this doesn't affect that we got a 5-year warranty. None of this affects, so if you guys decided, no, you don't want to do this, you don't have to do this, because this doesn't affect anything with the deal that we have with a loader, with a 5-year warranty or anything.
So why, I guess, why would we want this service when there's already a warranty? I mean, what is it the service that buys additional beyond warranty?
Well, the warranty, I think it covers everything, other things on it. I'm not 100% sure, but I know we had it. I know on the old one, we had a 3-year warranty. And then we got that service for that 3 years, and it covers like any little thing that should happen to the loader. Now, the other thing that I'm not sure of, if we have somebody else do the maintenance on it, that part I'm not sure if they'll cover it. You know what I mean? If something happens, we call them up and because they didn't work on it. And the other thing that we figured we could do, we get all our parts right from John Deere. We'll go up there, we'll go right up there. When they came down to service it, they had them on the truck, but anytime after that, I had David Glant, which works in town here, and he worked on the loader, and he'd tell us what he wanted for parts or what they needed for parts, and we go to John Deere, and we stuck with John Deere all the way through there with the old one to do this, and that's what I was looking to do with this one right here. But
Okay. So, my understanding is that the loader price was 160,
165.5.
165.5, which is what we voted for at the town meeting,
meeting,
you know, for warrant up to 165.5. But I'm understanding as well, and I'll hand this over to Jim Michel, is that there may be other, you know, options as well that would result in some savings to the town. So I would like to hear about that.
Well, he explained that to us too, but what you guys were looking for. What you guys are looking for. You're trying to keep the price down as much as you can. But what I want to say is John Deere has used us really good. They've used us good. I think they gave us a really good price for this loader. And we also have for the first month here, because we don't own it, the price to rent it, so we could use it anytime we wanted to. We got it at the shed now, and they give us 4,000. I wasn't sure 45. I think it's 4,500. 4,500 a
Go
month.
towards the purchase.
40 for the purchase.
Yeah.
And talking to Jeremy this morning, he said if you guys went and wanted to buy that, if you're gonna pay for it this week, he said you can disregard that 4,500 and just pay for the loader. But
I thought the 4,500 was credit.
it's a rental.
It would be, if we don't purchase the loader,
Then we
Right.
have to pay for
we
the
have to
rental.
pay the 4,500
4,500.
rental.
Yeah.
They will, if we purchase it, but we need to pay for it by the end of this week in order to do that.
Did you want to address your findings, and so
I
we can have a
would.
discussion?
I would. I've been in contact with Wayne. I've been in contact with, also with Chapel Tractor, because I was, wanted to find out what was, you know, what the situation was. And what I came up with is, I came down and saw the loader at the highway shed. It's a brand-new John Deere, no hours on it. It's a nice machine. It's smaller than the machine that they are replacing, but it has the same horsepower and the same bucket capacity, basically. So it can do the same things in a smaller package. And I think that's one of the things that they like about that, speaking with Wayne. He does like the John Deere brand. I understand that. But when I stopped at Chapel Tractor, I stopped there for a couple reasons. Number one, they are in town. They're a Brentwood business that's been operated for 70 years. And I talked to them, and what they gave me was a quote for a 2024 Hitachi wheel loader. It is basically the same size as Wayne's original loader, so it's a step up from the loader that Wayne is looking at purchasing right now. So it's a larger loader, it's got more capacity, it's a stronger machine. It has a Cummins engine in it, which is about the best engine that you can purchase, that you can have. The loader has very low hours on it. It was which is light duty.
How many hours?
Under 200. They're not 100% sure, but I think between 150 and 200 hours.
And the warranty on that loader?
So the warranty that they'll give us is 6 years or 3,000 hours, which is a full year more than what John Deere is.
And this is a Hitachi.
It's a Hitachi. And what I would like to add to this quote that they gave us would be a rear camera, rear fenders for the wheels, because we'd be driving it over the road, and strobe lights, which you would need to put strobe lights on.
Yeah, we don't have
John
strobe
Deere.
lights on
Yeah.
ours down there yet.
So the price that we got from Chapel was $131,000 for a larger machine.
Including the strobe lights? and all
No,
that?
no,
Okay.
no, that's not including those. That would be roughly, between the rear camera, the rear fenders, and the strobe lights, somewhere in the range of an additional 6,000. And I did invite Chapel Tractor here tonight so that if we had any questions, we could address it with them directly tonight. I know the chief likes the John Deere. Personally, I think I like the idea of having a larger loader. I like the idea of saving approximately $30,000. And I like the idea of doing business with somebody here in town that Wayne also knows and works with on several things. So he's not a stranger to Chapel. It would be my recommendation that we go with the Chapel tractor loader simply because we're saving a decent amount of money for the town and we're getting more bang for our buck, basically.
So Wayne, if I can ask you, have you reviewed that?
Yeah, we went over it this morning.
Okay, and have you seen the Hitachi?
No,
Okay,
I haven't seen it. Much about those tractors down there.
okay,
Yeah.
and so let me ask you this, I mean, for a $30,000 approximate savings, do you feel like that has, some, value in terms of, what,
Yeah,
you
I
would,
understand what you guys are doing, and
Yep.
I do understand what you guys are doing, and we feel that we don't want to get away with it. You guys are trying to save money and stuff like that, so if this is what you want to do, just go
Well,
along with it.
no, and I appreciate that, and that's, I really do, but I do want to give you the opportunity to say to me, Paul, that maybe $30,000 less, but, don't be penny, what's the saying, pound, penny, there you go, thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Thank
why
you.
you're the email.
Thank you.
Letty, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just didn't, and this might be something that Andrea knows. I know that we had to change the number in the warrant article to match what we thought the bond was gonna be. Is that gonna be a problem now that we're changing the number again?
Would it be a problem that it's because it's lower, not
Changing the
higher?
bond?
Yeah, so like, remember how originally it was up to 190 and then we changed it down to up to 165? I thought that was because it was tied to the vehicle that we thought we were getting, like the number.
I th-
190, and we reduced, 190, and then we reduced it at town meeting to 165.5.
165.5.
But I thought that was an authorization
Coming
up
out-
to,
yeah,
up to that amount.
Mhm.
Coming out of the capital
No, it's not.
I'm sorry, out of
No,
the
it's-
general.
It wasn't gonna matter.
Shouldn't be.
That's all.
No.
No, we're good.
I also did speak with Chapel Tractor, and this particular loader is said to be the most popular brand out there right now in size and brand. So, one of the things that you want to look at when you're purchasing a piece of equipment, a couple things, is who's going to service it and are parts going to be available for it. Nothing against John Deere, but we're in a situation now. I understand the loader's 20 years old, but we're in a situation where we can't get parts for that loader anymore. So Hitachi has been around for a very long time. I don't foresee that being an issue, and we have a very capable, service department right here in Brentwood, rather than having to go to Concord for everything. And
So
so,
we have some representatives here from Chapel, I understand. Is there anyone who, one of you who wanted to speak to this?
and just come up phone and
Yeah. Name and where
Hi.
you're from.
Alex Higley from Route 125 Chapel Tractor. So as Jim said, so this past year for just the Hitachi brand, we had over 20% market share in just New Hampshire alone. So it's 122 wheel loaders just for that size that we put out into that marketplace. So those are going to all your major contractors, snow removal guys, everyone else in between. So it's not anything that's new to the marketplace. we've been a dealer for that brand since 2016, and since then it's been our dominant force in that market. So very minimal downtime, very minimal issues. It's kind of our
Why is
go-to
there like,
size.
it looks like there's about a 20% difference between the prices of the John Deere versus the Hitachi. Can you explain
It
why
is.
that difference is?
So if you go John Deere, Komatsu, Caterpillar, those are kind of your other big names in them. And from what we've seen, their prices are just kind of way inflated from what we see as a dealer perspective. And even to that standpoint, I think the service contracts are very good and very beneficial. But when you're talking $15,000 to do 5 services on a machine, that's about $2,800 per service. So typically when we do a service on one of these machines, it's anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 depending what you're doing. So
And how often do you have to service?
every 500 hours. So a typical just general engine service on one of these is about $1,000. And then your major service, which is like all your oils, axles, transmission, that's when you get above that like 2,000 hour standpoint. So like the amount of hours that most towns and most departments put on them, you're like, say, I think you're what, like 3,000 hours? Yeah, over the last 20 years. So even if you look at it from that standpoint over the next 20 years, you're really not getting up into that standpoint. So you have a lot more kind of spend money on that end that you're not utilizing.
So it's cheaper to maintain. We have a 6-year warranty versus a 5-year warranty.
6
Yep.
years on this?
Yes.
And the warranty covers?
Everything. So top to bottom of the machine. Another big thing with us is we don't charge anything for road calls if it's under warranty. So the next 6 years, if anything happens to it outside of a general service, there's no cost to the town. Like most of your other ones, like if you go buy say a new Caterpillar, you have to pay just to get their truck out the door for them to come out for a warranty claim. So we're one of the only dealers that doesn't charge for that. So say you have something that goes wrong with it 3 years from now, Wayne calls us up. Yep, I got 2 guys right out of our Brentwood shop. Be right down, get hands on it, and get you back up and running.
And Paul, the other thing that I forgot to mention is Chapel, John Deere was going to give us $20,000 for the loader as a trade-in, and Chapel is going to give us $25,000 for and that helps get the price down. So
To the 131.
131, and then again, we want to add I talked to Wayne, and if we did go this route, we wanted the rear camera, rear fenders, and the strobe lights.
Is that something that you guys do?
Yep. Yeah, it's all done in-house.
And,
And
is,
these,
that estimate that
yeah,
Mr. Michaud
pretty
gave
close,
within?
couple
Okay.
dollars plus or minus, but it's going to be around that. So like Jim said, the loaders we were earlier, those were brand new loaders up until this past November, and we sent them out for one snow season. So they're supposed to come back to us this coming week, April 1st, and then we usually just go through and make sure they're good to go. Then they get sold out in the marketplace. So you might have 150 hours of it. And most of that's just pushing snow around in a parking lot. So you're basically buying a new machine still.
Okay. And that's the other, is that part of the discount, having?
Yeah, so that number is delivered to you guys, 100%, good to go, cover the next 6 years.
And it's ready to go?
Next
Ha- Has the town's name on it if we want it?
I got guys for it.
Hey, John, are you with us? John?
Yep.
Yeah, do you have any thoughts?
Yep. To be no, I appreciate Jim Michaud's initiative on tracking this down, and it does sound good. As with all things, big machine related in town, I'm gonna at the end, I think defer to Wayne. I'm not the one that's gonna be sitting behind the wheel here, but I don't see any flaws in this.
Okay, thank you. Wayne?
Now,
you, guys.
what I was wondering about,
Wayne,
the
if you could
cost-
talk.
what I was wondering about is the cost the cost of renting it, we're probably gonna end up paying them, because you're not buying from them.
Mhm.
And now, I don't know if they charge us for coming down and get it and they brought it down to us, so I don't know if we're gonna get a bill on that as well either.
I was unable to get a hold of Jeremy today. I think he was in a meeting, but I will call him tomorrow and see if I can negotiate, something with him, where we did not use the loader. I think that part of that cost that they charge us is they're expecting us to use that loader and put hours on it, put scratches on it and whatnot, and Wayne did not use the loader, so
Well, let me ask you
Not at
this,
all.
Wayne. I understand there was a bill for the rental for the month?
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
we
but-
Received a bill today.
Okay, but that bill doesn't include, I mean, we were never
No,
told, we were never told that there was gonna be some additional transport
Well,
costs.
we didn't know well, they brought it down. Soon as I told them that, we were gonna take it,
Yeah,
then they brought it right down to us. That's why we got it so soon. Cause they wanted me to call them as soon as I found out from town.
I'm sure there'll be a charge, but I
I'm
don't
sure
know
there's
how
gonna
much.
be a charge on that.
Let me give me a shot at trying to reduce that charge. And we're still saving quite a bit of money.
so 131 plus the 6,000 or so to,
Roughly, yep.
it's 137 plus the bill for 4,500 brings us up to 141.5. And if there's some modest charge for back and forth, we're still, say if that brings us up to 143 or 144, we're still 22 grand less than what we would be in with this other loader. So can you live with the Hitachi?
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
So what do we do now?
Well, I'm willing to entertain whatever, this board wants to do.
Should I make a motion?
You can.
I would like to make a motion to purchase the Hitachi machine from Chapel Tractor, to include the rear camera, the rear fenders, and the strobe lights. That's completely outfitted for us, and they will take the old machine and trade, and it's a win-win. Less on maintenance. So the motion is to purchase this 24 loader from Chapel and make it happen. And I'll work with John on the and get those taken.
Mind them sold out the
Yeah.
tractor
Mhm.
from us. Second on that?
I'll second it with a clarification that we're spending up to $140,000 on the machine and build out.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
have to put a number to it, right?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll more than cover it. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to go too tight. I mean, we could do
Correct.
137, but
Yeah, no, I mean, 140, that gives a little bit of leeway, but hopefully we'll come in under that.
I will
yeah,
I will keep an close eye on that. Make sure that happens. All right.
so that was my second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Okay, then we'll go ahead and take a vote. Jim,
Aye.
Letty,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay. You got a new tractor. And thanks, folks, for from Chapel to come down. Appreciate it. Okay. Becky, are you awake? Okay.
Hi, Becky.
Hi, Jim.
Mhm.
Becky Dunham, Chair of Conservation, 9 Block Drive.
Mhm.
I believe last week we discussed in brief the contract that was the purchase and sale agreement that was signed by the landowners, and a copy was in your packet last week.
Mhm.
After some discussion, the board decided that since it was the first night that the purchase was public, that to give the town a week to absorb that information and for me to come back this week for your signature.
Yep, and we are getting the actual document for our signature, so this was something that I wanted to hold for a week because we had first presented the conservation purchase and brought that out to the public last week. So if anyone has any comments at this time about that conservation purchase and the price of $225 to do so, then speak now or forever hold your peace. Well, then come to the mic and say thank you.
Kate from Middle Road, thank you for saving some land.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I have to say that the Conservation Commission and the Open Space Committee and Becky Dunham has put in, just a tremendous amount of work. So I don't know if you want to mention any other names from the Open
Oh,
Space Committee, but
Happy to do that. Open Space Committee was created last June, and we worked on this, a number of things since that time, but this came forward to us the Monday before Thanksgiving, and we have worked hard to do all the steps necessary to move it through the process. We still have a lot of work to do, and I'll be working with Andrea on those follow-up steps to this signature, but this was an important landmark in this process. So we hope that going forward, it may take up through the fall, but that's what this process is like. It's very complicated with a lot of steps and a lot of information sharing.
and this is an outright purchase as
Yes.
opposed to a conservation easement. The conservation easements
Take long.
are a little more complex because of how easements work in general versus an outright fee simple purchase, which is what we're doing here. The thing that I really like about this purchase is the access that will be given to the public as well. So I think that's a big, big plus.
The purchase and sale and any documentation will note that it's purchased for conservation purposes with public access. So yes,
And the next step is to do an environmental assessment.
yes, that is underway, and I hope to have that report within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
It is off of South Road. It has frontage on South Road, and the side of it is along Old Hague Road. It's 11.21 acres. It's been unused land since, at least 35 years. It is subdividable. That was an issue, but we had a fair market value appraisal, and the owners accepted that. So we are protecting another chunk of land. It is also surrounded by the Stevens easement, the Robinson easement, and Split Rock. So it's a notch of land that sort of fills in that gap, which connects to 22 easement parcels along the Exeter River, about 890 acres of preserved land. So it enlarges that section.
Liz Freya, South Road. So it's just the land, right?
Yes,
And it's how much land?
11.21 acres.
11.21. Okay.
So
thank
it's surrounded by 100 acres in conservation plus the 43-something acres at Split Rock.
you. Okay, thank you.
So we have now that we have the actual P&S document in front of us, I will take a motion for this board to approve and sign off on the P&S.
I will second that.
Or you'll first, I'll second it
Oh,
then.
sorry.
Yep, motion second by Letty. Will, any further discussion? And we'll take a roll call. Jim?
Aye.
Letty?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so we have P&S that I will circulate for signature.
Becky, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I will start a permanent file on that, Andrea, so when that's all signed, I'll just take a copy for the file. Thank you.
Yes, to be commended. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you've really made it. Does it matter? It doesn't matter. We just need 3 people.
Yeah. No, I just wanted your title on
That's fine. I do have a title. It just doesn't matter.
it. Okay. Yeah. You're not,
Cross one of them out and put your name or something.
Late to the game. Right. Congratulations, Brentwood. That's awesome. Nice piece of land.
Vice Chair over there. Yeah. Okay. Getting near the end of the agenda, so we have some issues from cemetery, so come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jim Hazer, Chairperson of the Cemetery Trustees. And before I start, just recognize Skip Belanger, who's a trustee, is here tonight, as well as our Superintendent of Cemeteries, Joyce Kegel.
Yeah, and congratulations to Skip Belanger for becoming a trustee and winning his election.
He's a rookie, so, you know, we're bringing him up to speed.
Right. And Joyce, we appreciate all the work that you've done for the cemetery as a superintendent. And I understand part of what you're bringing before us tonight is to renew that.
Yes, and actually this came up at our last meeting. Joyce is our superintendent of cemeteries, has been for as long as I've been involved, and does a great job. There was a leave of absence involved, and her role may be changing with, she does other roles for the town, in addition to the 6 hours a week that she is acts as our superintendent of cemeteries. And we just wanted to make sure that she's been a superintendent as long as I've been involved, and it's all in the budget and all that. So we don't usually come and let you know, oh, continuance every year. It's just she's our superintendent. But given that maybe her roles were changing in other places, we just wanted to come forth and let you know that we want Joyce to remain as our superintendent of cemeteries for at least the remainder of this year, and going forward, hopefully beyond that. And I also want to thank her. I know she had a difficult time with a family issue, and the whole time she was still doing her role for us, because otherwise Skip, myself, and Jillian would have had to try to figure out how to do it. And but we were blessed that she was able to do that. So again, this is just probably a continuance that she will remain as our superintendent of cemeteries for at least the
And I
remainder of this
wasn't
year.
sure, frankly, if we needed to ratify that, but I felt like where she is acting as superintendent, being the top position, that it made sense, at least for the select board, to ratify that decision of the cemetery trustees. So I unless others feel differently, I mean, I would certainly accept a motion to ratify and accept.
Is it an appointment? Like, is there a slip?
No, I don't believe so. I believe per 289(7) paragraph 2, the cemetery trustees have the ability to, I believe the word is, appoint a cemetery custodian or sexton who shall not be a trustee and who shall be responsible to the cemetery trustees for supervising work done in the cemeteries. So I believe it's just,
Well,
again, where it's
then
already in the
actually-
budget,
Well,
I
thank
don't.
you. Yeah,
I think
thank
you're
you
just
for.
letting us know then, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
then thank you for reading the statute, because
Yeah.
as you read that statute
Right.
to me, it probably doesn't require, any kind of ratification, but I certainly think as a board, we can, express our appreciation for the work that you have done and are willing to continue to do. And I know I've been to those Memorial Day, where you just do an amazing job for that celebration. So
Thank you.
I think I
Yeah.
can say that on behalf of the board.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for your dedication to the town. Absolutely. Great job.
Yep. I think you had one more
Yes.
item.
And the other item is, now that Skip is back to being a full-time trustee, when we went through the cycle last year, we had recommended 2 alternates. We do that and per RSA, it has to be only a 1-year term. So every year, we recommend to the select board who we want for our 2 alternates for the year. Last year, we recommended Skip Belanger and Caleb Labe. And it's probably my own fault when we went, I believe you approved both of them. And then when we went to do the form to swear them in, Caleb had to travel to Florida, and he was on extended leave with his family in Florida. I never followed up with it to get the form signed. We didn't really need him because we had an alternate in Skip, but now we have no alternates. So I'm asking if we could, I have his form that I provided to you, if we could just officially sign off on Caleb for the remainder of this year, which would be
This
until,
will be a temporary
Correct.
appointment just
Correct.
through June 30th.
Correct.
Because as part of our procedure, we will be going through appointments that need to be made for all of the committees. And there'll be the notice that will
correct.
to go out, for that 90 days and the application.
And again, per RSA, the way it's written is the trustees recommend and you appoint, you approve, excuse me. But again, we follow the process like everybody else. So we plan on when you do advertise, we will advertise for two alternates again.
Right.
Caleb would be one who would be applying, and
And
then
that
the
will be
second one.
brought up
Correct.
to us.
Same
with
process.
30-day notice.
Correct.
And we'll make those
Correct.
decisions by June 30th.
Correct.
For all the committees.
So this is just to cover us until the end of this
You said
period.
we already approved him, though?
I believe if you go back, that Skip and Caleb were both approved, but I never
may not have a
submitted, I
slip.
never got the slip. I never did that part of the paperwork, so I never. Yeah, he
Well,
was,
whether or not he's sworn in, I guess I'm saying, do we really need to do it again if we've already approved him once?
I don't have a copy of it either.
Probably to
so
be
if-
safe.
If we just do it and
Yeah,
put
probably to
the
be safe.
term
I think it would be
expires
a good
June.
idea to do so.
Yeah, and I apologize for that.
So
If we just put the term expires June 30th,
we'll make sure that the slip gets done upon, motion that does this through June 30th. Can I entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, Jim,
I'm an aye.
Letty,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So we have a new alternate, or maybe maybe not a new alternate.
new.
But we have an
Right.
official alternate.
correct.
Let's put it that
That's
way.
exactly
Through
correct.
June 30th.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
The final thing on the agenda is well, I shouldn't say the final thing on the agenda because we also wanted to talk about, Cheryl as well. But all right, why don't you deal with Health Trust update? Yeah, and what information you're aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our insurance company is Health Trust. They're part of school. A Senate bill came about and basically saying that they felt like Health Trust was falling below in their reserves. Health Trust's reaction was that the town would have to set aside money to cover the reserves. So they asked the towns to increase their premiums up to 4% over a period of 4 years. I got an email yesterday saying that the Board of Trustees met with Health Trust, and they said if this bill passes, that they will end the insurance on December 31st of 2025, which means that the town will have to go out and find an independent company to do that, and not with this risk pool. So it's not good. They're a good insurance company. They cover long-term, short-term disability, dental, health. So, yeah.
Health being the big
It's not
one,
good.
obviously. Yep.
And they cover most towns and schools,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Like that, like
Yep.
they're a pretty big.
Yes. So,
So anyway, something that we need to keep an eye on in terms of what happens, because obviously, if that does happen, then we'll be needing to make a big change, and we want to make sure that we're proactive about doing that and not doing things at the last minute. So we'll be keeping an eye on that and reporting to the town about that. The last piece of regular business before we get to committee updates has to do with a discussion that we started a little bit last week, and I want to continue that discussion in terms of some of the financials from 2024 that need to be reconciled, that some were, frankly not done with the transition of town administrator, and also moving forward from January of this year, and doing some of the reconciliations from the BMSI and to the accounts.
I just want to clarify.
Yep.
This was not an issue due to the town administrator not being here, because that makes it sound like I'm the one that didn't do it.
No, it was
It
actually,
was-
go ahead.
It preceded that.
Right. Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
So it's come to my attention, a little bit of a learning curve for me as I, took over this position, that yes, we do have a treasurer, Ambrose, who's looking closely at the bank reconciliations, but we also need someone to deal with and address the BMSI and the budgetary reconciliations as a check, and that's going to be very important for purposes of auditing and making sure that our house is in order. So, BMSI is the platform that is what we presently use to create the budget, and I don't know if you want to make it payroll, and I don't know if you want to clarify that any further.
Nope, it's the accounting software that the town uses.
And one that I hope we're not going to be using that much longer, because we're looking into updating that software, but we won't be able to do so until the fall. But in the meantime, it's something that we need to deal with. So in discussions that I've had offline with Andrea about how to address that, Andrea had some ideas and options, so I'll let her take it from here.
You want me to just talk about the contractor?
Yes,
We have a
please.
contractor that will come in. She has over 20 years of experience in municipal finance. She does work for another town. And she does side work and helps out other towns. She's helped me out in my other community. She does reconciling, budget. She does all of it. So and she's pretty efficient. So she should get us in order and pretty quickly.
So what I'm looking for at this point is for her to come in up to 8 hours. I don't know that it will necessarily take up to 8 hours. Her rate is $125 an hour, so it is not many of us making $125 an hour, but so that is a significant rate. But nevertheless, I understand that she'll work efficiently, and then the idea will be next week, once we get a better idea of what we need done in terms of moving forward, she will be able to add that to us, and we'll come back to the public and authorize further contracting expense. So my thought with this is that it sort of, instead of a finance director like a number of towns have, and Andrea has educated me to that, we're cobbling together a treasurer that the town has with Ambrose, who works up to 10 hours a week, and then this person who would work on a contract basis, which would essentially save us the benefits in terms of cost. So that's the general idea, to make sure that our house is in order, and I just want to make sure everyone is aware of that. And John, I don't know if you have any thoughts or comments, but I felt that that was an important thing to move forward on.
So this is the reconciliation element part that we're talking about.
Yes, it is.
Um, I defer to the in-house expert, Letty Bedard, on all of these matters.
Thanks, John.
You bet, Letty.
So you're specifically asking for the 8 hours at 125 to figure out where we're at,
Up to 8 hours, yes.
figure out where we're at, and then
And then we'll come back
come
next
back
week.
next week and have a better idea of where we're at, including how many more hours it might take to fix 24.
Fix 24, fix and get us present through 25, and then, get an idea of what we might continue to need going forward into 2025.
Okay, but we wouldn't talk about that till next week.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So now we're just, what I'm seeking is merely starting the discussion, and then merely, authorizing an initial outlay to have this contractor in to start the process.
Do you need a motion?
I do.
I'll make the motion.
Can I have a second?
I will second your motion that we will hire this person for up to 8 hours to evaluate where we're at.
Okay. Any discussion?
That was your motion, right?
It was. Okay, then we'll take a vote.
Aye.
Letty?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye. So we will start that process and, report back to the town next week on that. Committee updates.
Yep.
Becky, did you have a committee update? No.
Oh.
Then, I'm sorry, why don't we do public comment, since we're doing public comment on top and on bottom? So,
Becky Dunham, Chair of Conservation. Just two things I should have mentioned when I was here before, just didn't realize it. May 14 at the Conservation meeting, we have a representative from the company that does the green snow training. And all committees in town will be invited. The public is welcome to attend. It's the process that will be more environmentally safe or prudent for handling snow in the winter, probably using less sand. This is something that is already required over at the Mill Road property. That is the new development. So we want our staff and our town to be compliant. So we're looking forward to doing that training, but the public is welcome to attend to hear about that. So that's all on that. Green Snow, Bruce Stevens and Doug Finnan are arranging all the details, so you'll see more about that. The second thing I just wanted to mention, and this is just a little humorous, having done the walk with the environmental person last week, just an alert to everyone, it is tick season. I came home with 5 ticks, and I was only out there an hour. So please be sure that you are prepared for that and you do a tick check after you come out. Please enjoy the outdoors and use the trails, but just be prudent and be aware that it is already, they're hatching. My other comment. Thank you.
I won't tell my embarrassing tick story, but if someone wants to, ask me about it later, I will.
No, thank you.
Okay. Committee updates. You want to go, Letty?
The first budget committee meeting has been pushed out, so the 21st, I think. Is that right? 21st. It was gonna be on the 7th. Got pushed out to the 21st. So that's it.
Okay. Jim?
I've been meeting several times with police, fire, and highway, and we are. I've requested a list of their equipment so that I can review and keep track of you know, of their equipment and also looking over, you know, their staff and whatnot. And everybody's been very helpful, and things seem to be running very smooth.
Want to mention?
Yeah, so we went to the ribbon ceremony this week for the ALS program that is come to Brentwood. Chief Byrd has been gracious enough to allow them to come in and keep their EMS vehicles here, and also their personnel, which will definitely help us here in town as well as surrounding towns. So that was it was a nice ceremony, and we welcome them to the town.
It was really a great ceremony, and Chief Knudsen from Plastow, you know, has just done a fantastic job in putting that together and having it right here in Brentwood. So, I mean, I feel like if, you know, after one of these meetings and I go home and now my wife needs to call 911, you know, they'll be there in, you know, 45 seconds. So I can't be more thrilled. It really was a great day for Brentwood, I thought. Okay, John.
No, school board meeting coming up. That's all I got.
Okay. And I was at the planning board the other night. We just had a work session. There was an issue raised with, you know, culvert that was placed out on Mill Pond at the new development, which needs to be investigated because it may not have been on the plan documents. There was some discussion about ordinances and especially with alternative forms of housing, and the planning board working on bringing those to the public at some point, as well as a housing conference. Other than that, I thought it was a good start for the planning board, and I was glad to be back where I first started helping out with the town. So I think that's about it.
Great.
I will take then a motion to adjourn. We don't have non-public tonight.
All right. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye. Okay.
Heard an aye from
we're
Patty.
adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
You'll be okay.